All right, let's get right into it. There's a major development unfolding in healthcare right now, and it's a shift that could, fundamentally change the whole dynamic between doctors, their patients, and that constant pressure of the clock. We are talking about artificial intelligence stepping directly into the exam room.
And here's the core issue, the reason this is all happening. Clinicians are just drowning in administrative work. I mean, charting, double-checking guidelines, searching for the latest evidence. It buries them in paperwork, and all that time comes from somewhere. It's time taken away from actual patient care. But here's the big news. New AI tools are being deployed to tackle this problem head-on. These aren't just concepts anymore. Secure, intelligent assistants are being integrated into clinical workflows today, and the promise is that they can finally lift some of this incredible burden.
So first up, let's dig into how AI is actually entering the clinic, how this technology is really starting to reshape the day-to-day work of medicine.
Okay, so at the very heart of this change is what's called a clinical AI assistant. The best way to think of it is as a secure, intelligent workspace. Its whole purpose, its one job, is to handle all that administrative and analytical heavy lifting, so clinicians can get back to focusing on their patients.
So what can these AI-powered assistants actually do? Well, they're incredibly versatile. They operate across a huge range of tasks, everything from helping with really complex diagnoses all the way down to just routine, everyday documentation.
Let's start with a really critical function. How can an AI possibly help a seasoned doctor with a really complex diagnosis? It's a fair question. So let's look at a scenario. A doctor sees a 62-year-old man with a complicated history, diabetes, kidney disease, and a really confusing mix of symptoms. The AI can instantly suggest a focused workup. It outlines specific labs to check for sepsis, imaging for pneumonia, and microbiology tests to hunt down any pathogens. It's basically like having an instant, evidence-based second opinion right at your fingertips.
But look, complex cases are just one part of the job. What about that daily mountain of paperwork that just burns up so much of a doctor's time? Well, the efficiency here is pretty remarkable. Using these powerful new language models, a pediatrician can just state the situation. The AI takes that prompt and drafts a complete clinical note, formatted and ready for a real chart. The amount of time saved on just a single patient visit is just significant.
Or here's another great example. An endocrinologist can ask the AI to generate after-visit instructions for a patient who is just diagnosed with something new. And it creates this clear, non-technical guide that covers things like diet and medications. This not only makes the doctor more efficient, but it helps the patient actually understand what they need to do. Okay, let's talk about another critical area, patient handoffs. We know that communication breakdowns between different care teams can be really dangerous. So how does this technology help improve patient safety when care is being transitioned?
The whole process just becomes incredibly streamlined. A clinician inputs the patient details, let's say a 72-year-old who's recovering from a hip fracture. The AI then generates a really concise handoff summary, and this creates super clear instructions for the entire care team. It makes sure everyone is on the same page, which can dramatically reduce the risk of miscommunication and error. So all these efficiencies in diagnostics, in notes, in handoffs, they all point to one huge overarching benefit: giving doctors more time with their patients by slashing that administrative overhead. And when you look at the list of tasks this technology can support, you really start to get a sense of the scale of the impact here. We're talking about drafting documentation, preparing prior authorizations, summarizing information. These are the classic time sinks that can now be automated or, at the very least, accelerated. Ultimately, it comes down to this. Every minute a doctor spends on paperwork is a minute they are not spending at the bedside. This technology is all about reclaiming that absolutely critical time for patient interaction and for thoughtful, focused care. So what does this all mean for the future of care? Well, it looks like we're seeing the beginning of a totally new kind of partnership. A partnership between the doctor and the machine. And it is so important to be clear about this. The goal here is not to replace clinicians, not at all. It's about empowering them. The AI is a tool, one that's designed to handle all the cognitive clutter, allowing doctors to focus on the deeply human aspects of medicine that only they can provide. And this really leaves us with a final fascinating question to think about. As AI becomes a genuine co-pilot for doctors, how will it ultimately change not just the science of medicine, but the very art of medicine itself?